Hey everybody, welcome back to the Mildly Competitive Podcast. Today we've got another short crew, but we do have a good amount of members here. We're going to go over a couple of topics. Uh, First things first is our pre-release. It was a little late for us, but we still had it. A lot of cool things come out of it. That'll lead us into Obsidian Flames, our thoughts on it, how we feel some cards might come out as winners or many of them being losers. And then finally, we're going to talk about worlds and how you can get there, what you need to actually get enough points to get to compete in worlds. Today, we have 4 people with us. It's going to be myself, Eric. We've got Daniel, DJ, and Dyson.
What's up, everyone? Hey.
What's up, everyone?
You there, Dyson?
Yeah, I'm here.
I didn't hear you. All right. So first things first, our pre-release. So we actually had, was it 22 is the final count?
Yeah, we had 22 players.
Nice.
22 players. It was only like 4 seniors and juniors. And then the rest
like
were
8.
masters? 8? Okay. Well,
it was quite a few.
Okay. So definitely more masters than juniors or seniors, which is pretty typical for our area. And it was a pretty fun time. We had it a week late just due to some shenanigans, but it still didn't quite damper our spirits. Ended up, I went 2-1, which totally doesn't matter in a pre-release, but it still felt kind of cool. Casey, my brother, ended up going 2-1. He tried to go the solo EX strat, ended up not working, and built basically all energy plus camera up, which was fire, literally and figuratively speaking. And so it was a blast. We had quite a few new people as well. Daniel, I know you were running the events. You had a lot of pop IDs to hand out. Want to go over kind of that?
Yeah, I signed up probably, I don't know, 8 or so new players up with pop IDs. And there was like a couple earlier in the day that I had been teaching how to play the game, which was fantastic. There was a dad there who usually goes in with his kids, and as far as I knew, they were collectors. But today was the first, or that pre-release was the first time I'd seen them play, which was pretty enjoyable.
Yeah, I actually played him first round. Super cool dude, lots of fun. He had played a long time ago, but was just recently getting back into it. So we were able to, teach him a little bit of the newer stuff, some of the, changes in first turn rules and things like that. Lots of fun though. Super nice dude. Plenty of fun. And I know DJ, you had one of your young ones you were playing with today, and it seemed you guys got like some pretty cool pools, pretty cool cards in those cards that their sealed deck.
Yeah. I ended up signing up both my young ones. Youngest one, it was his first semi-competitive tournament. No better way to start than a pre-release. It's super exciting. And my oldest, who was actually, been tagging along with us on this tournament journey, he had some fantastic pools out of his 4-pack kit. He opened up a Koraidon EX. He opened up all illustration rare Ninetales, and then he opened up 2 of the Chase Charizards, 1 regular EX and 1 of the gold ones. Only 2 Charmeleons, no rare candies though, so he couldn't play it. So that was kind of, that was kind of sad, because if he could have played it, it would have just been a mono Charizard deck and been pretty good.
I don't know if you could beat 2 Charizards.
Yeah. Plus they power each other up. Pretty much smack everything in the format. But no, it was fun. My youngest definitely felt left out, not pulling any EXs, but he was.
I didn't pull any either.
Daniel was kind enough to trade him a Charizard, and so that made his whole event. He's still hanging on to this day. He has a hard case protector sleeve, and he's keeping that thing safe and nice.
Nice.
Speaking
of Charizards, though, so we had 22 players, and I think there were at least 8 Charizards pulled.
Dang.
That's a lot of Charizards.
That's a lot of Charizards. Not nearly as many of any other card.
Yeah, I think I saw 2 Greedent EXs. I had 1, and I think Trenton pulled another one. But my pool was
Same here. My pools were.
Yeah, it's weird how the Charizard pulls seem better than literally anything else in the set.
Right. It brings back that nostalgia, right? Imagine those players that haven't found the league yet, right? Their child pulls a Charizard from a target pack and brings back old memories. I don't know. I could see a lot of people coming back to the game after getting that Zard pull.
Charizard does kind of have a special place in my heart because when Pokemon first came out, my mom, funny enough, of all people, was like super into trying to chase down the first edition Charizard. So like she would go to stores trying to crack packs of base to get us each our own Charizard. And she eventually did. She went through a lot of packs, but she eventually got us both the Charizard.
Wow.
It was super cool. And as a dumb kid, I got scammed by some other people from those Charizards. So I learned early
Oh, no.
who you can trust when trading. We went to it was like a Pokemon card like kind of fair at the local library, and we were just like looking around, and I saw someone had a sealed case Venusaur, like a Japanese Venusaur, and it was in a case. I'm like, yo, that's so cool. I only have this Charizard though. That's gotta be worth more than
no.
this Charizard. And guy's like, you know what? I'll take that trade. I'll do that for you. Like he was doing me a favor. I'm like, oh yeah, it's so cool. Little did I know. Super scammed.
Do you still have that Venusaur?
Somewhere. I don't. It just reminds me of what could have been, so I try not to think about it too much.
And does Casey have the Charizard?
No, he also traded it for something else.
No.
We were dumb as heck.
Not like that.
I know. Yeah. Knowing us, they weren't in great condition anyways, so it's not like a huge loss, but it's still
Yeah.
kind of a little sad.
Anyway, back to the pre-release though. Like
Yeah.
the camera up seemed to be probably the most powerful pre-con.
Camera up, toxicity, I think were the two. If you could pull those, you were Gucci.
Yeah, it seemed pretty good. I didn't get to play, so I don't know, but that's what looked
Yeah.
to be doing well.
Because I did the Palafin Togekiss, and it was okay, but it just took a lot to get going. Whereas Camera Up Numel, you're like turn 2 swinging for 150 to 250. It's like, okay, I guess that's how it goes.
What's funny is this is probably the format where Togekiss is going to be the most impactful it ever will be. No hand
that's-
disruption.
That's the pre-release kit I had, the Camera Up Togekiss. And Camera Up is a pretty good card in that format.
Yep.
It's always kind of neat playing those sealed formats. I do miss when they were Mutant Evolution, though, when you had the 6 packs to build, and then you used Mutant Evolution, which wasn't super standard everywhere, but we did it that way at our shops. So I found that to be more interesting because you could kind of play some things you normally wouldn't or be able to.
That's why Ditto Draft exists. That's why we should all play a Ditto
but
Draft.
drafting sucks.
Ditto, but you use one of the precons so that it doesn't, or the pre-release kits, so it's not as bad. And the Ditto rule makes it easier to play whatever Pokemon you want.
DJ Dyson, did you guys ever, did you pre-releases in the past, did you guys ever do the Mutant Evolution style, if you can recall?
No, never really. It was definitely just tried our best to play what we've got out of our kits. I'm just trying to think, like early pre-releases we played the EX format, or no, level X, and
Oh yeah, very different.
no, yeah, one of those things. We were much younger, but when we pulled a level X, we were able to sell it to a collector or a big player for our entry fee back, our $20. So that was kind of like our highlight. So I remember pulling him a champ level X, and one of the collectors buying it for $20, and I was just the happiest kid.
Yes, sucker.
Made that money back.
So speaking of Obsidian Flame pre-release, let's talk about the set itself. I think the general consensus, and it's not really a hot take, it's pretty much mild at this point, is the set's pretty uneventful. There's not a ton in there that's going to be shaking up the meta, causing shifts, making decks, breaking decks. Nothing quite that powerful is coming from this set. But I kind of want to see if we had any ideas on some cards that maybe might be overlooked or something that we can kind of bring up that may see play. Maybe not now, but at least in the future or so. My kind of picks, I had a couple. Rhyme is a new supporter. Draw 3, and then your opponent switches out their active to the bench. So it's kind of like an escape rope or a reverse bird keeper. And I personally really like the effect, but I can see the downsides where it's like, well, you're using your supporter. The draw 3 is nice. It gets you out of locks and doesn't force you to run items, and you can like buddy catch or search it up with some of the Glade to kind of tutor it, more of a toolbox style card. I'm a big fan of that card. I think that one may have potential.
You know what other card can search for it?
Which one?
Pidgeot EX.
Ah, okay. He's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
That
Best card in the set.
I don't think you're wrong, but I don't know if the card's good.
It's a low bar.
So it's like you're looking at half a V star from an Arceus, right? You're looking at a half V
Every turn.
Starbirth every turn. As a stage 2, so it's minimum starting turn 2 with a rare candy.
Right.
Which is neat. But so many decks nowadays draw or see so many cards is tutoring for one specific card that good?
Yes.
I don't know. Lost Fox doesn't want it. They just run Urseal Stone.
Forest.
That's the one, Forseal Stone. And that gets them exactly what they want and not have to rely on a stage.
Yeah, it gets them exactly what they want once.
Hey, one's all you need.
I feel like, especially as we move towards more Stage 2 EX decks that are just auto-including 4 rare candy anyway, playing a 101 line of Pidgeot is probably going to become pretty common.
Well, circling back onto the Rhyme card, I think Rhyme is going to be right. It's just like Worker or Avery, some of those draw 3 effects that give your deck a little bit of utility. So I can see Rhyme being like a 2 to 3 star card. That's like a include if like wall decks become a thing. Which with some of the cards in the set, it's looking like more and more we might get to a format where it gets slowed down. But yeah, Pidgeot is by far the best card in the set.
I agree.
What else? What else has people been looking at? I've got a couple of ideas, but I don't hear what other people have.
I like Poppy a lot.
Poppy's interesting.
Yeah, I think it'll find a home in something. Being able to move energy around is usually pretty powerful. Ooh, actually, I have ideas now. They're bad ideas, so I'm not gonna make them public. Now I have ideas. I just thought of something. Anyway,
What's that supporter card that lets you attach energy?
Gita.
Greta. Or Gita.
Gita.
Yeah, until the end of your turn, until the end of the turn you play this card, none of your Pokemon can attack, including Pokemon that come into play during this turn. Search your deck for up to 2 basic energy, attach them to one of your Pokemon shuffle. It's a super interesting card. I think that does definitely have potential.
I almost guarantee you next set we're gonna have a Pokemon whose ability circumvents this restriction. I guess not
I
next
wouldn't
set,
be
because next set's
surprising.
151, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, what's Gita's ace Pokemon?
Glimmet.
There you go.
Like Glimmet can attack this turn if Gita was played, does more damage or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, something like that.
Ooh,
Like a
that'd be
Mewtwo
fun.
EX style attack where it gets stronger for every energy
Right.
and can attack even if things say you can't.
Yep. Because like there's the Mimikyu that like does bonus things if you play Acerole's Premonition. Like
It's true.
there've been a handful of Pokemon that have like supporter tied attacks.
Well, even going back to, you know, 2.5, 3 months ago, Paldea evolved with the introduction of Ting Lu, right? A 3 energy powered Pokemon that a deck was designed to burn through its deck with squawk abilities and trekking shoes, just use Karad on it in your turn. Like,
Right.
it's being able to attach 5 energies turn one, it's going to be pretty good for those Team Blue players because, I played with the deck a little bit and I got those pop up turns and then I got boss Dragonited. It's like, all right, looks like I'm resetting my Tinglu and then a second boss Dragonite on the second Tinglu. And I was like, all right,
Yeah.
you're too good at this game. Next game.
The first Tinglu is usually pretty easy to set up. It's the second one that is.
You have to waste a turn to use the Karate
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
I think a good card in this set is the Cleffa card.
Right.
Free attack, draw 7, the old babies.
See, my only issue with that card is the fact that Iono and Judge exist in this format.
And you also can't evolve the Cleffa.
True. I feel like Cleffa falls into the same like downsides as the Togekiss that lets you draw 7 at the end of your turn.
Draw 8, up to 8.
Oh, is it 8? Oh, okay. Same thing. Regardless, you have 4 cards starting your next turn because you've been judged. Or Ionoed or something. It's hand disruption's too prevalent right now, I think, for the Cleffa to matter, unless it's like really early in the game.
Yeah, that's true.
That card is going to be interesting, right? It's a free pivot.
True.
It's also like, right, a lot of the stage 2 decks are kind of like come from behind type of decks where you don't want your basics getting knocked out if you're going to rare candy next turn. I don't know.
Right.
I just see it as a card that will like enable reversal energy decks to be played for stage 1s and then enable stage 2 decks to get set up. Granted, I know Judge and Iono in the format, but
they don't always have it.
True.
Is it good enough for Gardevoir?
No.
Oh,
Mew is just infinitely better.
Yeah.
Gardevoir struggles. I mean, I guess it doesn't struggle as much anymore, but 30 HP, Sableye would love some Cleffas on the bench.
But then that's damage counters not going on.
No, on
Gardevoir.
Gardevoir. That's fair. That's fair.
It's like
I
a
don't know.
bait.
I think the card's good. It's going in my cube, like 100%. If I can get one of the illustration rares for it, it's going in the cube.
that's a beautiful card too.
It is.
Mr. Staff
Like-
promo.
I mean, yeah, I might put the staff promo in, but I kind of like the illustrator better, so we'll see. Speaking of the illustrator rare, the art in this set, the illustration rares, some of them are pretty good.
Caesar is bombastic.
Scizor is amazing. Ninetales also amazing.
Very good.
Both of those cards are. The Scizor is probably better than the Ninetales, but
I haven't seen that art. I've just seen the bait. I've seen Scizor around as it's like a potential like deck. Like you can actually sleeve it up to a tournament and do pretty well in a lot of formats. At least in the Japan side, I've seen some lists that are playing some Scizor.
yeah, I think you play it in Zoroark.
Right.
Yeah. Zorobox makes sense.
50 damage for each ability.
Yeah, 10 plus 50, so 60 minimum. I know every deck, most of their Pokemon have an ability.
It has a relevant typing.
Yep,
Yeah, I think
Steel.
it's gonna be pretty good.
That's got some potential.
Yeah. So like a lot of the cards in the set have really good art, and then there's the Ice.
Yeah, there's a
Cube.
lot of cards that are like, man, this is super close to being good. Once like X rotates or X is banned.
Right.
I mean, I'm not expecting any bans, but in theory.
Well, sets like these I love because you can really pick up a lot of like the, you know, top chase cards at a decent price, and then, less than 12 months later, some rotation happens, and now some of these cards are turning into staples, and you start seeing the price jump up.
That's
True.
true.
That would require selling cards, though.
I only buy cards. Copious amounts of cards.
Another thing I think from this set too is, or another card I should say, Pokemon League headquarters.
Yeah.
Basic Pokemon cost 1 more to attack. It's got a lot
annoying.
of, it's again more potential, but then like what does it stop? Lost Box,
Kinda.
kind of.
It only stops
Cramorant
Sableye.
doesn't care. It
Yeah.
only stops Sableye. It can potentially stop
Greninja, I guess.
the Dragonite, the Raikou,
Okay,
it just
yeah,
means
so
they have
literally
to-
every attacker other than...
other than Cramorant.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then like other decks, you're looking at Lugia don't care, Arceus don't care, Gardevoir don't care.
Yeah, Gardevoir's
Like-
basic attacker is Zacian, and like...
Mm-hmm. And they, oh no, I have to do 1 more? Whoops.
Odds are they already are fulfilling that requirement regardless.
Right. So no, another potential just doesn't have a home.
As far as build around decks, I agree. That stadium card, that's definitely something you keep in your stack of staples. You never know when it's going to become playable. Right. I mean,
Trounce the bird up deck.
the bird's the word. I really like the Gamora EX. I know I've heard Dano talk
Mhm.
about that card as like a tech card, but there's lists surfacing around where it's just the main attacker. You're using Hisuian Sneasel to ramp up the poison
Ooh.
damage.
Dang.
Oh,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, and then you just kind of just lock down their benches, and they're going as far as to add a Lunatone Soul Rock into the list and not have Pat turn it off.
That's funny.
That duo is interesting, but
It's a lot of bench space.
it is.
I find it funny that the Glamora is running those, which is essentially limiting its own bench space to 3 by having those on it.
Right.
It likes to play fair, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Totally. Fair and balanced.
I want to play Vespiquen. I don't think it's going to be good, but I've been itching for a solid spread attack that Manaphy doesn't care about for a while
if it
now.
if it only wasn't already damaged
That's
for the spread.
That's the issue.
That's the hard part.
I
That's why
mean,
you
we
play
got
Halucha.
we've got Halucha, we've got Gape Jaws. We got there's stuff. It's not good, but there's stuff.
It's got potential.
Meowscarada. Playing grass already anyway.
See, that's the thing with Meowscarada. With that Pidgeot card coming out, I think it'll make that deck
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
better. And it'll be a
I'm
lot
gonna
easier to get your Yoga Loop plays.
Right.
Well, not only does it unlock other stage 2 decks that, like, you invest 1 Rare Candy into it, but Pidgeot's going to find the other 3
True.
when need be. But I know it's out there. There's going to be a control deck that's using Pidgeot, and all these
Oh yeah.
super, like, fringe supporters. You're just going to see, like, a deck with a bunch of wanted supporters, and using Pidgeot to find them, and Palpad to abuse them. So it's coming.
Like we all know Sanders gonna come up with some crazy control build. But yeah, I think overall the set's not good.
Yeah,
Not exciting. Not exciting. I don't think it's not good. I think it's just not exciting.
Yeah, it's not exciting because a lot of the stuff when you look at it, you're like, that's neat. It's not a lost box. It's not, some kind of powerhouse you can throw in Lugia. It's not something you can load up with Arceus. It's not something that goes in Gardevoir. Like, the meta decks are pretty well set up right now, and so it's not that level of power. It's hard to justify until rotation.
Right.
Right. Like we need archetypes being printed as opposed to
Mhm.
random cards.
Like if there's more bird up cards in here, more United Wings, that would have been sweet.
I think the deck needs one more line, personally.
Yeah,
Like a Honchkrow.
but unfortunately, no.
Yeah.
There's a gold artisan in this set.
There is, and I want it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And a gold fire energy because Charizard.
No, I was going to say the poster child of the set. What do you guys think?
As in, what do we think of the Charizard?
Yes.
Oh, I think it's pretty, like,
Mid.
yeah, I wanted to say, like, mid without just saying mid, because mid's just, like...
No, I'll lay it out there. It's mid. I think it
eh.
needs a partner. I don't think it has a partner yet. It either needs a really good partner or a really good Charmeleon.
Yeah, I think the thing a lot of these stage 2 decks are missing outside of Gardevoir is a good stage 1. Like, Gardevoir, their stage 1's probably the one that sees the most play, because you want to keep that in play for as long as you can. And, like, in this one, Charmeleon's just sitting there like, I exist,
True.
or you rare candy it, right?
Right. Those, but those definitely there's going to be those games where you get your rare candy Charizard and you go into a Delphox V against a Gardevoir or a Lost Box player, and you just feel like you're on top of the world.
If you can get like 2 Charizards down, I think you're doing really good. But then that's a lot to ask for, and also have probably alternative attackers. Because 180 off the bat's not doing much.
Right, other than...
They really need to have taken like 2 or 3 prize cards to make it much more worth it.
Yeah, with its typing, it does put a lot of decks in check right now.
Decks like Mew.
Yeah, against Mew, I don't know what they're going to do against it.
Probably just knock out the Charmeleon or Charmander before they get a chance to make it a Charizard.
Right, that's the best thing they can do, because one Charizard's able to take out 2 Mewx's.
So what? That's Mewtwo does 180 with the DTE.
190.
190. So 3, 6, 9, 12. So yeah, it can't one shot even with 4, unless you get without DTE and you do fusion build. It's 210. 3, 6, 9, 12. So you'd have to go fusion build Mew to one shot it.
Correct.
Which I mean is the more popular build, but
You also got to ask for a power tablet not to be prized, or...
Yep.
Right, that's a lot of pieces.
4 cards.
Yeah.
Um,
It'd be really good to search out your power tablets.
Cramomatic?
Say the line. Yeah, Cramomatic. There you
Yeah,
go.
that one.
That's it.
That's
That's
the
what it
bird.
was.
That's the bird I was thinking of.
Cramomatic. Yep. But yeah, overall, I think the set it doesn't do enough. Doesn't do what I hoped.
I feel
Not
like
yet.
a couple. Yeah, I feel like a set or two
Definitely
from
not
now,
yet.
it'll all start to come together and things will start meshing better.
I think we need V's out of the format for it to really be relevant.
That's a while off though.
Exactly.
Right, and we went through the same cycle of Sword and Shield being released, like they said, in the first couple
Yep.
sets were lackluster, and we didn't see a future past Mewtwo, Mew, and
The issue
then
is
ADP.
The thing is, though, Zacian existed.
I was gonna
from Sword
say
Shield base
Sword and
set,
Shield base set has Zacian V.
and Marnie.
Yeah.
Like Sword and Shield base set was pretty cracked.
Well, Paldea introduced Iona, same type of concept.
Sure.
Yeah, the second set, correct.
Yeah, Scarlet and Violet base set, I don't know what impactful, other than a new archetype of Gardevoir.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which I think you could argue that's plenty impactful.
I don't know. I'm
Oh,
definitely...
Miraidon too. Like Miraidon exists because of that
Sure.
set.
Chempao from Paldea, like I don't know. I think it's slightly less powerful than the first couple sets of Sword and Shield.
I know. I was comparing it with a friend to Darkness Ablaze, and he's like, it's basically this rotation's Darkness Ablaze. But I brought up Darkness Ablaze was actually a better set.
Darkness Ablaze was nuts.
Because you didn't
Eternatus?
remember. Oh, yeah, Eternatus.
Crobat?
You've got the Crobat. Is right there, Crobat. Like, you're
Yeah.
done. That's like every deck runs Crobat.
To be fair,
Uh,
we did get Squawk and Paldea.
Vikavolt V. Powerful energy for the Lugia decks eventually.
Oh, and Aroma Energy was in there too, I think.
Not that set, no. And then Big Parasol was also another big one from that set.
We got Pierce.
Piers,
Sure.
yep.
Yeah.
That's definitely a card. Tea Break, like Mad Tea Party, was that
Tea
set?
Party? Yeah. Or Mad Party, yeah.
Yeah. Senta Scorch Memes was from that set.
True. Best mill deck.
And then, best of all, Golden Capture Energy and Golden Rillaboom. So that set was cracked. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
And when I look at this set, it doesn't quite have that same flair or pizzazz.
But Dark Charizard.
Yeah. That one had Charizard VMAX.
True. It sure did.
When does Pokemon 151 come out? Like September?
September.
I think.
Looking at September for that one.
And then after that, it's like November? Is the next set after that?
I
December?
believe so.
I'm predicting
like
that
that.
set will be the cracked set.
Probably.
Yeah, we'll see.
Right. We
know
got a lot.
nothing about it right now.
Oh, I did want to. The Grass Stage 1 has an Espeon ability. What is it? Toadsucruel?
Yes, the protection from damage with energy. That's an interesting card.
Yeah. What do you guys all think about that card?
Let me read it real quick.
I'll read it for the class.
Okay, read it for the
So
class.
it's Toadscruel EX. It's a stage 1. And it says, prevent all effects of attacks from your opponent's Pokemon done to all of your Pokemon that have energy attached.
Okay.
The keynote of existing effects are not removed.
Right.
Damage is not an effect. And then for double grass, it's 80 and 40 more for each of your benched Pokemon with grass energy attached. So effectively 280 with a full bench of energy up to Pokemon.
So it'll stop
Or-
Tina's Star Wreck.
Gets around Star Requiem, gets around Sableye.
Does not. Oh, yeah, it does get around. Yeah, it does.
It's an effect.
Yep. I was thinking the wrong.
It still gets one shot by the first attack,
It
but
sure
we're
does.
ignoring that.
What about Mew?
What's that?
Mew's effect is to copy an attack, and that attack is still doing damage.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
So it does not get around Mew.
it's the same type of Espeon VMAX type of effect. Now,
Which
It's just
Espeon
mirrored.
was mainly for Greninja and Sableye.
yeah, we're starting to slowly get the grass pieces, and I'm a grass
Grass
gamer.
has Grass has some very powerful cards that just don't. It's like fire. They have some very powerful cards that just aren't enough, which is wild.
It's ironic that both of those types are very rarely super relevant.
Right.
Like
Except
grass,
when they are.
even more so.
Yeah, the last time grass was good, Forest of Giant Plants was the big deal.
I mean, Decidueye was probably pretty good. back in
True,
its
and that was
day.
with Forest of Giant Plants.
That was post Forest. This is Sun and
Was
Moon
it?
era. Yeah.
Was Forest not Sun and Moon?
No, it was not.
Yeah. Are you talking about Decidueye that had like the protection from GXs?
That's
Oh, that
Decidueye
was-
EX. Yeah.
It was Ancient Origins. Huh.
Decidueye GX rather. Yeah. The one that the Meowscarada of back then.
We're getting close, guys. Grass is going to be alive.
And then the last time Fire was really good was probably Reshizard?
Sun Moon. Yeah, Reshizard tag team Sun
Like,
Moon.
Welder, or
That-
I guess
that was-
Blounds. Like
yeah.
Blacephalon was good. Like
Blounds,
Fire was just
Welder, Reshizard. That's when Fire was, Fire Crystals, Giant Hearth,
man,
just
good
a
times.
ton of good cards.
Yeah.
Right? And it definitely goes through cycle. We're definitely in the, water dark psychic typing right now. other than Lost Zone being its own engine.
Yeah, Lost Zone throws a wrench in that. It's very smorgasbord.
Yeah,
It's weird though that engine enables what would normally be a not very good card
Just to
to
be
be
good.
pretty good.
Correct.
the Dragonite V.
Right. Like
Yeah.
there's no way you're powering up a Dragonite V any other way,
Right.
realistically. Arceus maybe? I don't know. Promo probably never sees play if Lost Box doesn't exist. That Dragonite.
True.
Yeah, I'd say overall, the set, there's potential, but I don't think we're going to see an impact coming into this format. So Worlds won't be impacted by this set. And honestly, I don't think Worlds is going to be very impacted by this set. Maybe a couple of tech pieces.
Pidgeot.
But getting to next year's Worlds, it's going to be an interesting fight for a lot of people. Pokemon recently released their information on how to get to Worlds. And a lot of the changes people were expecting were to keep kind of the points around the same thing as it was this last season, maybe increasing it a little bit just because people can actually run League Cups and challenges now. But I don't think we expect it to be increased this much. We're looking at 600 points for Masters for North America. I believe it was 400 for juniors and seniors. In order
450.
to get 450,
Yes.
even more, in order to get into the next year. So they really almost doubled the points requirement to get into Worlds going into the this 2024 season.
Yeah.
They also decreased the amount of best finish limits for locals, where it used to be 2 per quarter, so 8. Now it's 6 total for them. So you're getting less for your local events. They did increase the amount you get for your regionals and things like that. They introduced more tiers and they reduced a couple of the thresholds for points. So getting to about 21 players to League Cup or Challenge actually gives you more going into the top 8. But I don't think that's really relevant with how few you get compared to how much you need.
Right.
So this whole change in system, I think, has kind of been overall, like, the really enfranchised players are super pumped because they also did remove the Day 2 Worlds invite as part of that race for top 16, which is good for people who are, relying on that to make Day 2 on Worlds. But then, on the other hand, made it a much harder, more cutthroat race to do so. That's no longer a thing. Now you're winning for just round 1 buys, which I think is a much more reasonable thing to win for.
Yeah.
I mean, that and travel stipends for the ICs.
That's the other thing, true.
Like, you still want to be top 16. I think
Correct.
those
It's just
players,
not as hard to push.
I think those same players will be pushing for that top 16 travel stipend.
We will be pushing.
Yeah, you're right.
We'll get to that. We also have, if you win a IC or regional, like the premier events, you get a free invite to Worlds, which they haven't. I don't believe they've done that in the past.
This is the first I know.
From what I recall, for the past number of years, that's the first time they've done this, which I think is cool, especially with how large these events are getting. We're getting in the 600-700 for regionals easily, if not 1,000, and then ICs are getting into the multiple thousands of players. So winning one of those should have a bigger impact than just 200 points.
Right.
Or 500 in the case of ICs. So I think that's a good change. But then 600 points, that's not, even winning an IC if you didn't get that wouldn't be enough points. Which
It's
is
a lot of traveling. It's a lot of traveling.
Yeah, so the math kind of breaks down to, if you're playing every League Cup and Challenge you can and you take first, you're looking at 390 of points available from that. 390 points. Which is a lot, but still not quite enough. You still need 210 more points to get to Worlds. I think we broke it down. That's like, 3 top 4s. No, at regionals, it's 3 top 4s. Or if you win second or first, just 2 of those. 3 top 8s, 4 top 16s, 3 top 16s, 4 top 32s, and then 6 top 64s. And at that point, you're running into the issue more of how many events you can even make it to at that point.
Right.
So far, we have 10 events listed, No, we have more than that.
12. 12 have been posted. Right
12. So that's just still this first part of the, the last half of this year, kind of going into May of next year. So we still have some time before the next Worlds, and they can post more. But for us on the West Coast, this is tricky. We have like reasonably 3 or 4 we can make it to. So if we want to get those points pushes, we're gonna need to do either very well at those, or move to Ohio.
True. That's actually the real pro gamer move is just move to the Midwest.
So my kind of taking this all in over the past number of days it's been out, I personally do feel a little worse about trying to make the push for Worlds. I really want to, but with how my schedule tends to end up, I don't get as many chances to make it to Leagues, Cups, and Challenges. So that's going to be a hard push to get for some points. We're going to have some at our locals, which is great. There should be some I can try to make it to. But for regionals, I can maybe make it to 2 in a year. So it would be very hard for me to make that full push if I'm not getting, top 4 at both of them.
I mean,
Or
you've already won a
win.
Which
challenge.
I have won a challenge. I have won one, so I'm on the scoreboard.
You're 1 for 1.
I am 1 for 1. That's true. But I need to be 1 for 12.
True.
now. 12 for 12.
Yeah, go for 12 for 12. Exactly.
Uh,
Arthur Angabanga going to get me there.
Definitely. Yeah. My insight on this is, 600 points definitely does seem like a mountain to climb, and people have been doing the math and start to realize, like, is this really doable? What do I need to sacrifice to do this? My partake is, you have 10 months of looking at schedules for league challenges and link cups, so I would get that done first. Map out your weekends if you can dedicate a day to play Pokemon, and at least get 12 underneath your belt, and then just see where things land. Before this announcement, we had gone to 4 collectively, and me personally, I have still zeroed out on points. But I was also pushing non-top tier decks and trying to make things work. And now that I see what we're up against, right? Like, it's going to be a mountain to climb. So I'm definitely going to be looking to up my game, make sure to get playtesting in with some of the peers that are on this podcast, and go through ideas and really find a deck that's positioned well, either in the best of 1 format or best of 1, and also have enough tools to compete in the best 2 out of 3 and top 8 in cups. And then take every opportunity to go to a West Coast regionals, right? Because the moment after we get done with our season, I think September is like our marathon weekend.
Yeah.
It's like every weekend, it's 1 to 2 cups and challenges that we can go to. And most of us are kind of committed to that, taking that weekend time to go compete at the highest level, which sets us back up to the first regionals on the West Coast, Sacramento. If all that playtesting and all that tournament experience I don't finish, I would say day 2 I'd be happy with, right? Because the prize payouts will also hit day 1 players, like the 50%. But like making day 2, then I know I put the work in, and I'm gonna pursue getting my invite to next year, because it only takes 1 run. You get that win, you're automatically invited. But
Right.
even if you get that top 8, your name's on the board, you get quite a chunk of points, and you're sitting there like, I just got to do this 1 more time, or commit to NAIC, which is top loaded in points to set yourself
True.
up for victory. So
Assuming
that's
you
my
can
insight.
register.
Yeah, assuming you can register, which
Yeah.
hopefully they just do an uncapped event and they just go crazy, collect the moolah from the players and say go at it.
That'd be
It's
cool.
going to be 19-round tournament before Top Cut,
3 days.
Man.
3-day tournament, or maybe they do a top 32.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah,
I wonder
top
how many
32
players they
cut.
need to cut to the top 32. It'd be a lot.
I would have to say like probably 2,800, 2,500.
Yeah. Cool though. Cool.
Mhm.
I wouldn't be surprised if they hit it, if they had a venue big enough.
Right, and that's kind of like I think the challenging part is they got capped out, and was it in Cleveland this last year?
Columbus?
Columbus, Ohio.
Right.
What do you think, Daniel? What's your thoughts?
I wouldn't be surprised if we near the end of the season and they drop it by 50 to 100 points. I think that the change to first place, getting the auto invite, is a needed one. That was a good change. I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be it's gonna be a grind. It's gonna be a grind, but I think we can get at least a couple of us there over the course of a year.
Do you think Pokemon is just throwing this 600 point number out to like test the waters, or do you think they've already like predicted roughly
I mean, that's
the number
not.
amount of worlds invites?
Yeah, I think they for sure want to make worlds a little bit smaller, just to make it a little bit more manageable.
And a little bit more of a prestige, right?
I mean, I guess.
Because if you have all of these people going, it's kind of like, you can do it. It's not that big of a deal. You just play a couple, play a couple League Cups, play a couple regionals, boom, you're there. Like it almost becomes blasé.
Kinda. But then I mean, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, I guess you're right. Getting to worlds itself isn't the big thing. It's then could you day 2 worlds,
Mm-hmm.
do top worlds. So I guess there's that point there. I wouldn't be surprised if like I said, near the end of the season they kind of gauge how many players they're gonna have, because I bet they have in mind how many players they want,
Yeah.
and if there's X amount of players on track, and they want a couple more players to fill out that, um, I don't know, kind of quota that they have in mind, they might drop the requirements a bit.
Which they did last year
Right.
for this world because of the lack of League Cups and challenges. But
Right.
so there is a precedent for that to happen.
So it's probably just a matter of how many people they want to get in.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I agree. It's gonna be a grind, but like as you were saying, DJ, like once you get those like cups and challenges in, you get those reps in, I think it'll definitely pay off when we participate in those regional place.
It's better to be lucky than good, I always say. So as long as you're lucky, you'll make it.
There to O2 Marco Polo drop.
I'm still
yeah.
chasing a first place.
Well,
True.
with that being said, it's more important than ever to participate as much as you can in your local leagues, right? Ours is growing, and really find the competitive players or people that maybe have an understanding, because in our group, um, it's pretty obtainable that all of us would be able to go to Worlds this coming up year. Half of us being competitors and the other half being spectators, but we all get to share that experience. And all the cups we've been between rounds, we're talking to each other, talking about mistakes and different lines we could have done, and just being the support group and learning from each other. So it does make a difference being part of a community and having a competitive group. And if that's not attainable to you, then there are other means. There's tons of discords out there of local areas where people discuss about this stuff and deck ideas, and
Right.
you take it straight to online and practice it and be ready to compete. So that's my 2 cents.
That's fair. As overall, it definitely seems like they're trying to push more of having less people at Worlds, but I have a feeling they might get too few, so we'll see a change like Daniel says. But either way, still going to try and make a bit of a push as much as I can. I think that's our general consensus as well. Is at least because Andrew Mahone made a comment of winning, like getting to Worlds shouldn't be the only reason you play, which I do kind of agree with. I think you should have an aspect of, hey, if I win this, I go to Worlds, and that's what I should be playing for, versus I just want to play to win and or have fun. And I just want to play to win, no matter what event, especially League Cups or challenges.
Oh, yeah.
I love winning challenges.
Love it.
So still being a bit grounded of, it'd be really cool if I win this regional. Gets me right into Worlds, which is great. But also, going to Worlds isn't the end-all be-all of your Pokemon career.
I have thoughts, but I'll not get into that.
Yeah, no, I could totally see that, that portion, right? And that's the players that also bring, don't be afraid to bring a deck that's off meta and catch some meta decks off surprise and do really well. So that's why we have these discussions.
Thanks everybody for watching or listening, depending on where you are. Please do give us a like, comment, subscribe on YouTube, up, thumb on Spotify or heart, whatever gives us the up metric. If you do enjoy this, that would be great. Leave any feedback or any of your own cards you may think are going to be interesting or good moving forward into Obsidian Flames forward for Pokemon. I thank you guys so much for listening to us. I hope you all have a great rest of your day.
Later, everyone.
Later, guys.
Bye. Did you have best card?